Hello. Good morning or good night. Good evening as well. Let me just share this link and get things started. Aha, thank you. Someone did a nice react. And I'll talk about what I've been doing, what we're going to be doing today. Getting the debug renderer working. As you might suspect, we aren't working on, based on this title, what I've just typed in, and the thumbnail, etc. We aren't working on what we did yesterday. Let me just say hello to everyone in the chat. Hello. Yeah, I'm just going to dive into it. Change this to random so we don't just get a sequence. And yeah, okay, so... Right. We have made some progress. Now, I can't show you because I'm in the middle of something right now. It's quite unfortunate. Actually, let's get Stash briefly. Because I've been working on... this for 3 hours before the stream, and we made some progress. We made some progress over that 3 hours. Oops, let me get up the chat before I... the whole point of having a second computer here is to see the chat, and I can't see it. I'm too excited. Right, let me... okay, that's up. Alright, let's get Stash for a minute. So, I don't get too excited when we see this, okay? But let's, this should work without much issue. Bam, bam. Would you look at that? We are back to baseline. Now, the whole... Let me also just add a bit of code in, and then I'll get Stash drop what we're about to do. So for those who are like, okay, yeah, I've seen this before. We now can do this. Not that I'm going to do this actually in code. Throw that in there. Different colors. Wow. Wow. Now, this has been a struggle to get working. And I figured out why. I figured out what's going on. So last time everything was going wrong. I couldn't render anything. And everything was going completely stupid. It turns out that your buffer device address structs need to be aligned in exactly the same way as what's on the C side, right? On the C++ side. So right here we have a... So this is what we were trying to do. So it worked originally with a position. But it's a bit loud for me, this. Let's turn this down. Hello, Kalia. I'm just explaining. We have made progress. And it all is to do with this padding value. So if I go and mouse over the entity data, which is the struct which is holding the data that's going to be used in the buffer device address, right? And you can see this is, it says aligned 32 bytes. This is important. This is more important than I realized. The buffer device address pointer that increments when we do this, this index thing here. This is just pointer arithmetic if you don't know. So this is just a number that gets added to a pointer. It has absolutely no idea how this is aligned at all. So when you think, oh, I'm using the scalar operator, I've even put it here, scalar. What? No, this struct where the buffer device address data is pointing to needs to be aligned in exactly the same way. Now, if we look at the, if we go back to here, you may think, okay, so this is 32. This is 32 bytes. It's aligned 32. Now look at this, 16, right? If you add these together, you don't get you don't because this is 16 and this is 32. On the GPU side, this gets all mixed up. Instead of it padding 32 extra bytes on the GPU side, it just has them there as 32 plus 16, which means the alignment for that would be what, 6 plus, so 8, so that'd be 48. So on the GPU side with these two variables, the alignment is 48. No, it's not 48, sorry. Yeah, the alignment's wrong basically. So I had to pad this up to be 32. So everything has to be in 32 byte chunks. This is completely confusing. I had no idea this was even a requirement. And that's why it works. So I had to pad this. What this is for? This is adding. So a float is 4 bytes. So it's just 4 times 12. So calculator. Let's just do this calculation, right? So you can see it. So 4 times 12. 4 times 12 is 48 plus 16 equals 64, which is the same size as this, but it's also aligned to the same size. Oh my goodness, that was a struggle. The reason that I was able to figure this out is because the slang shader that we've been playing with for the past couple of streams, when I actually got it working, when I got past the buffer out of bounds issue, it had the same bug as the GLSL shader. It had exactly the same bug, which made me think, wait a minute, it's nothing to do with the push constants. Now you've also got to be careful with the push constants. Here's something else I learned. The buffer device address pointers have to be in the correct order. So when you're on the so these are the pointers that point to things, and these have to be in the same order. You can't mix these up. Same with the data. The data has to be in the same order. You can't get these mixed up. You can't put global model above view perspective. There we go. And expect anything to work at all. So these two things made me go, ah, right. That's why things aren't working. And yeah, we are now back to baseline. Yes, makes sense, but I had no idea. There was no documentation on this. The reason that it took me so long is because, again, I thought scalar, this here, was just going to match what the C standard does, but no. You have to pad this by 12 because the pointer arithmetic does not work properly at all. So we have got up to the point we can now start actually debugging the debug renderer. So the whole point of what I was doing over these past couple of days was actually just to figure out why things weren't working in the debug renderer. Now there are probably other issues. Yeah, write that down. It's really important if you're using buffer device address that you know these rules. Because in my notes that I've read about buffer device address, I could not find anything about this needs to be exact. The padding rules for these are different than the padding rules for these, which is these are uniform buffer objects. This is just a struct, but it needs to be padded in a way that makes sense. The alignment didn't change anything. If I did 32, 64, 2, 4, or 16, still got the same error. It's because this was not aligned to the C struct. So now, because it's 32, this is what I meant. So now it's in 32. This needs to be, everything needs to be in 32 byte increments. Now I say that, I'm kind of curious now because I've increased this to 16. I wonder if I can do 16 instead of Yeah, because I got 32 here. Let me do a bit of quick maths. This is the benefit of the streaming, because I get to talk out loud and think. So 4 times by 4, right? So that would be 16. I wonder if I can get away with 4 instead of 12. Because that does waste memory. We'll see immediately this doesn't work if it's wrong. Because I'm doing it 64 bits. But maybe I just need 4 instead. Yeah, okay, I just needed 4. So the reason that it worked again is because instead of having 12, which would go to 64 bytes, I've gone to 32 bytes, which everything needs to be now. Because this here is a 32 byte, no, not on the C, let me go to the C++ side. Like I said, this is 32, so these two combined need to be 32 now. It's fine if I had another matrix here, because that would be 32, 32. But padding 4 and vec 4, which is 16, these are both 16 add 16 equals 32. So that's actually an improvement, because, you know, there is a memory cost to this. You can fill up GPU memory if this is like, if you get the padding wrong. And again, this has nothing to do with the scalar extension, scalar block layout. This now needs to be 32 because there's now a matrix 4 by 4 matrix. Right. There we go. Improved by explaining, which is, you know, a great part. This is the fun part, finding something new. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I'm glad you're just as excited as I am, because, you know, as soon as I found this out, I kind of sat looking at my monitor, kind of like, oh, is that it? That was the problem the entire time. So it's you know, I can't, because it was like, I could have saved so much pain if I just knew this one thing. But anyway, it is what it is. Sometimes these problems come up and you have to learn the hard way. Right, okay. Yeah, I can change this to 4 as well. I don't need this to be 12. Now I've done that. Oh, I'm going a bit too far ahead. Let me get stash apply to bring back our code. So I'm currently in the middle of getting the debug renderer to work, and how I'm doing that is I'm restoring. I'm doing everything I can to move to get the debug renderer to operate when it comes to vertices anyway. Exactly the same as this core vertex shader. So we're going to be doing that. That's the first thing we're going to be doing. We're going to be moving our structures. We're going to have everything the same. So we have exactly the same rule set, and then I can start. Then we have like a baseline that we can start incrementing from. Because we now know that the core shaders, which are these two, these work now. I don't have to worry. But the debug rendering shaders currently don't, so we're gonna be moving to that anyway. Is there anything else I need to restore or move back? And okay, so I put this to 12 briefly, just so I don't have to git stash drop and do some gitness. So git stash apply. So this is where I was up to. Oh, fine. Git status, git diff. What's the matter? Oh, okay. So I've left them as they need to go back to 12 briefly. Oh no, they are at 12. Oh, I didn't save. That would make sense. Right. Git stash apply. Right. So that should overwrite what we've done. But now I can put these back to 4 because that would make these 32 instead of 64. So yeah, currently things aren't compiling basically, but yes, we are in the midst of restoring to have the same interface. I'm not having the same data in there because I don't think it's necessary, but we're having the same layout and the same data that would be in these layouts. These uniform buffer objects are going to be here. So that means the what is it called? The model position has the same data in as the core shader. Hola. Hi, BMQ. Hope you're having a good day. Hola, yeah. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what that means. I'll assume. I'll just say hello. Is that Spanish or something? Hey, man. I'm Anna Cole. Anna Cell2. Sorry, my Cell2. Yeah. This is making my head hurt. Well, if there's any parts you don't understand, let me know, and I can always try and break them down as slow as I can. Hope you're having a good day, my guy. Thanks for turning up to us to the stream. Appreciate anyone who's watching. You know. Right, let's dig into this. So there's a compilation error that we need to fix. Do you have any prior experience in some company? Yes, I do. Don't bother, I will get it anyway. No problem. No problem at all. Yeah, your goal, as I said to someone in the in our Discord server, your goal is to sit back and enjoy and have fun in any way that you see fit when it comes to watching what I'm doing. So, you know, if you just want to chill, that's totally fine. If you want me to explain, I'll explain. No problem at all. No, I have not played Roller Coaster Tycoon. W Singletons. Hey guys, hi Ratchet. Right, let's keep digging into what we're going to be doing. So I want a persistent mapping. I also need to set up the buffers properly. So since I've had a little bit of a break setting up the stream, I just need to remind myself what I was doing. So we have two. So there's the material, just so I don't get confused in the future. Yeah, it's always good to get that right so you don't get confused. You should try it. The developer, like you, single-handedly created a game engine, probably, and made his own game engine. That's an assembly. Yes, I'm aware of the legend. It's a brilliant. He's a absolutely fantastic programmer for doing what he did. And a feat that I look up to. I actually take that as like part of inspiration. I really get inspired by those type of things, honestly. I should just play just to see what it's like, but it's incredible like what he was able to do when to make that size of game in assembly, just pure assembly, is very, very impressive. You could argue that, you know, back in the day, a lot of games were made with assembly. Fun fact, back with like the Amiga and prior and all those type of computers, people made their own operating system, their own game engine, and their own game that would fit on a floppy disk or whatever, you know, or cassette tape. But because that was because computer hardware was a lot simpler back then, so you had and that's what you had to do as well for performance. You had to make your own operating system, game engine, and game at the same time. That wasn't as complicated as it sounds, but that's just like the nature of things. But Roller Coaster Tycoon and the developer did that further forward in time, and it was much harder to do what he did than it was back in the day on like the Commodore 64, Amiga, early IBM PCs. But you know, it's all fun stuff. Right, anyway, so what do I want to do here? I want to copy everything exactly. Yes. So yeah, most games were made in assembly back in those days. But he did. It's notable why he did that in assembly. He did it in an era. Ratchet, you probably already know this, but yeah, he did this in an era when everyone was already using C. I didn't even know if C++ might have been around. I actually don't know. So everyone was starting to use C. People were starting to use higher level languages. And the amount of games made in assembly by one person were very small at that point. In fact, he was the last one that I know of. that made a game at that scale and was commercially successful. Excuse me. Anyway, what am I missing? I'm missing something. I feel like this. I need the buffer data. Where? I'm copying the Skybox code, but I'm not quite remembering how I set up the data, to be honest. So that's the persistent mapping. Doodle-doodle-doo. Let me debug a bit more. Right. Where was I? Let's see. Just Control F. And I just memory copy some data over with the persistent mapping. And I do that for that too. So I don't actually create a buffer, I just kind of modify what's already there. But if I don't create... Okay, we'll do that. If this doesn't work, we'll know why. So let's just make sure we got this working. Well, at least makes sense. Position, we don't need to update the color. And we have the model scale, which we don't want here anymore. And then if this works, I'll start cleaning up the code because the code is a mess at the moment. So escape point, do you think it's more, hang on, let me scroll up. You're coding the same project, the descriptor sets with the task scheduler. I saw your comment earlier. Sorry, I just noticed. I just recognized your profile picture. Yes, it's a slightly newer version of the engine. I've kind of started again because there was a lot of tech debt that ended up built up over time. So yeah, it's the same. Yeah, thanks for joining our stream, by the way, and thanks for commenting, by the way. I hope your project's going well. Sorry, I just clicked to So BMQ said, do you think it's easier now or doable, given a lot of ready-made stuff is out there, and what kind of engine we can expect out of it? Do you think it's more easier easier to make a game engine nowadays? It depends what era you're talking about. There's a lot of different there's a lot of different eras. Like, I think the reason that, like, for example, John Carmack and the people at id were so revered back in the 90s, because they were breaking new ground in 3D when 3D didn't really exist. So you could say, because people have said, like, the early 2000s was like the hardest time to make game engines, but it depends, right? It depends on, like, different eras had different problems to deal with. Right now, it's difficult, I think, because of scale. You can make, say, Factorio, for example, has its own game engine. But if you want to make a bigger game engine, like the complexity gets very hot, it gets very difficult very fast. So it's hard to compare. I would say it's always difficult, and I think that's just fine. That's just the nature of what I'm doing and what, you know, people end up doing. Like the people in chat are also making their own projects, and they're also experiencing similar difficult issues. Yeah, so it's hard to say, like, oh, it's easier now than it was, or it's harder now than it was, because people now are struggling. People back in, like, the 90s and the 2000s were struggling with different issues than I'm struggling with, say, and other people are struggling with. But that's just the nature of, you know, what's going on. So hopefully that answers the question. I think I understood what you're saying. Persistent mappings for debugs. That's what I want to do. I want a debugger for not debug. The material. Now let's do the uniform one first. Uniform. Let's debug uniform map, and we shall go in here. Funny how the SNES 6502 processor doesn't even have multiple instructions. Multiply instruction. It doesn't? Wow. Are you developing a game and a game engine at the same time? Yes. I believe right. Okay, so this might cause a bit of controversy when it comes to other people, but I've been told, and I kind of have to agree that generally speaking, unless you've got a good reason, trying to make a game at the same time is a generally good idea when it comes to making a game engine, because that informs the type of game engine that you want to make and the technology that you'll need. There's a total argument for saying, like, stepping away from doing straight gameplay or game stuff, you know. You don't have to like always do, oh, this needs to be game related specifically, but if you don't have any idea of what type of game that you're going to make and you're just making like a game engine that might be used or whatever for some kind of purpose in the future, then you can end up getting lost. And that's stuff I've struggled with, honestly. It's not super straightforward and easy to just stay disciplined and not make engine technology for the sake of it. Oh, I've called that model. Sure, model's fine. It doesn't really matter. No, it needs to be material. It really means material. Uniform data. No, it's model. It's model. I don't know why I'm calling it material. Let me change this. But I can totally understand if people disagree. It's just as an independent, your time is extremely limited. And you have to be kind of ruthless with what you do. Right, I'm going to change this. But I'm doing it for the love of the game as well. So that there's like different motives. Like I know not everyone here is, because sorry, I'm going on a bit of like a massive tangent here. But like people say like, oh, you should make a. I've had people like say like, oh, why are you making your own game engine? It's like, because the implied assumption is it's a waste of time because it takes so long to do. You'll be better off making your own game in a game engine. So there is kind of like a balance that you've got to take, where you've kind of got to accept that what you're doing is the long way around, but also it's worth it, I think. Yeah, so hopefully that I didn't ramble too much. It's I can't even remember why I started talking about this. Apologies. If that was like, that went nowhere, but you know, that's just stuff I think about, because it's kind of hard to balance. No, what did I do? I just copied the wrong things. Why don't you use AI coding like Claude to accelerate stuff? Or is it garbage? My friend told you to use it, worked well, and he made a lot of stuff in Source Engine. So I'm, like I said, I'm doing this because I love the actual craft of programming. It's honestly like one of my favorite things to do in life. I'm not doing this. People see like programming as like a means to an end. I want to do this like if you gave me like $1 trillion or whatever, like this is what I'd be doing. You know, like so I don't see like coding as an obstacle for what for things. That's one reason why I don't just like vibe code my way through things. The second thing is the coding that I'm doing is not that useful. It's not that good. Like AI models kind of break down, not completely, but they're not as useful as say web programming. And I want to get good. That's the third thing. Like I want to be as good as I can possibly be, and I think trying, trying to just not say vibe coding, but like if I just like use AI and things, I'm starting to outsource my thinking to the AIs. Why aren't you playing nice? Model. Oh, hang on. That needs to be S. So, and I think you'll find that a lot of people in this chat are also feel the same way about like they're not doing it because they know it's the fastest way to make a video game. They do it because they love doing it, and that's me too. So, nope. Share your thoughts and vision on the game, what you're trying to make, and why do you think creating a game engine from scratch is a good idea? I think I've mentioned most of them. But generally speaking, like I said, the other thing is I just don't really know how to use a game engine. It's not like I can't use one. It's not like it's that difficult. It's not like it's like, oh, it's impossible. I've just been doing this for long enough that I can make progress, and I want to, like I said, want to get better. So, hopefully that's generally answered all the questions. Yeah, good questions, by the way. I don't mind getting them at all. Because it is interesting, because these are the type of questions I have to ask myself as well. It keeps me on track. I do ask myself these questions like, why am I doing this? What's the point? Do I just want to do this to make money? Like, if that's the case, like, why am I doing this at all? Those type of questions are important because it keeps you disciplined. It gives you like a reason to keep going when things aren't going well, because this isn't always fun. And when it's not fun anymore, it's kind of like you need to have like good reason to keep going. Because, like I said to someone yesterday, persistence and consistency are the two things that you absolutely need when you're doing this type of stuff. And if you don't, then you might as well just give up. Okay, that's a bit mean, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm getting at. Okay, right. I think we're getting there. Now, what's in this struct? It's just a model. So this needs to be updated with the... I see my project as more of a framework than a game engine itself, but it's hard to define exactly what it is. Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's maybe Anna's making a game framework to render, I don't know, like cars. Maybe they just love cars or something. Like you can do, there's a lot of reasons to like learn how to do this type of stuff. There isn't like make game is the only it's the only reason. Okay, so what am I doing? So I'm just gonna try and get this to work, and then we'll try and catch up with chat a bit. Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, debug. Where is my... Did I just... Oh, I put it in the wrong place, didn't I? Hang on. There. That's where that needs to be. Then I need the material. One, which is actually the simplest. And vertex, buffer, mesh draw. So here I just want to copy the mesh over, the model over for every draw call, because that's... Do I care? The model is supposed to keep... Oh, kind of, yeah, it's... Yeah. Okay, so there's a little extra code here. The reason that I'm storing the model isn't because the model position is important for debug spheres or whatever. It's because it needs to be the same model data as like some animation or something, right? And that needs to come from, so the debug renderer needs to be able to surround some animation that's happening, and that actually updates the model for the collision geometry, so to be drawn anyway. So let me just try and work out what I need to do then. So here's the debug mesh, and I need to do something similar to this, but instead, yeah, I need to take the model's mesh, copy it over to the debug version. So that's our version. Hang on, let me think. I'm gonna leave this as an identity for now, just because as an identity matrix, because this is just I can't quite figure out exactly what I want to do here. And then I'll read the chat because I'm trying to figure out exactly what to do next. So I'm gonna leave the. So I'm gonna do this kind of thing for the model version. Oh, here. If the. So yeah, this is gonna be like a giant waste of time, but we want to grab this. Do model. And set the model to GLM's mat for identity. Okay. And then we are updating the, yes, uniform data is probably a bad name. It's uniform data model. Uniform, whatever, I'll just call it the same thing. With slightly different casing and uniform data. Okay. Now this probably won't work because it never does in the first time, so there might be some kind of... Let me fix this and I'll look at what's happening. So this view projection is notice field in... okay, yeah, so I think I've changed everything around. Yeah, I've moved stuff out of the buffered device address. And then I haven't actually... Yeah, fortunately this is an easy fix. Model, right. And if I build, that should compile. Let's see what breaks. And then... Okay. It is a... It's declared, but not... Right, okay, so I haven't set up the pipeline layout in the C++ side. The binding was not declared. Yeah, okay, so... Let's catch up. Hi, how you doing? Hi, Shadowclaw Dev. Someone asked a question. How do you know how to write anything without AI? Being creative with problem solving in coding is crazy skill. How do I know to write anything without AI? I've been coding longer than AI existed. Like I had a I've had a job. Well, I've had a job before AI even was relevant. Like no one in programming. So I don't know. I just it's a skill I've built up, I guess. It could be better for sure. There's no doubt. I'm always trying to improve. But yeah, I don't need AI to help me code like what to do. I just need to study and get better and develop as a person and as a programmer every day and be consistent and persistent with what I'm doing. Why don't I'm just doing stuff for fun, honestly. A lot of this is just for fun. And yeah, AI coding does, like I said, I just love what I'm doing. Yeah, how am I? Thank you, Shadowclaw, for asking. Yeah, I'm good. I think I need to take off my hoodie. It's getting a bit warm. 1 second. Ugh. Yeah, Shadowclaw, I 100% agree with that as well. You can kind of all your code kind of looks the same as like other people's code when you start using AI very extensively. Not that that's always a bad thing. Sometimes that's a good thing, but yeah. I think anyone can learn to code very well without AI, without using AI assistance. It just takes more time, which is not something people often want to do. So, like anyone in this chat, I believe, could become like an excellent programmer. Or watching, same. I think literally most people can. It just takes years of practice, and that's not, like I said, not something people want to do. They see coding as a means to an end, so AI is the path of least resistance, and then they just kind of... what have I missed? I've missed something. That's base. I didn't set the descriptor set layout. Okay, so... I created a descriptor set layout creation struct, but I didn't actually create the thing itself, so... Don't need the bindless texturing for this. Yep. And this needs to be part of the debug creation guy. Otherwise things will get really confusing. Let's just make sure I haven't made a silly mistake by using a previous pipeline generation thingy. Yeah. Looks like we're all good, so hopefully we get past that error and move on to the next one. It has it has tripped me up for a couple of pipeline. Yeah, someone posted in the Discord, in our community Discord, about how someone accidentally published their API keys to the internet because they just vibe coded everything, even after forewarnings from different tools not to do it. So yeah, that's the extreme of seeing seeing as code as an obstacle rather than something that's like worth doing in itself. So you can end up going like off the deep end with AI. Not that it's not useful or anything, it's just like range is not equal to I've seen it. I literally saw this earlier today. What do I need to do? Update descriptor. Oh, that's true. I'm not even using them. Yeah, I'm updating the descriptors, but I'm not binding them. which would be a bit of a problem. So when I'm binding them, how do I bind them? Yeah, okay, so I want to bind them in a way that makes sense. This particular descriptor set. Oh, hang on. I need to create them. I haven't created them. I'm kind of using some previous descriptor set here. Right. I'll leave that there for a minute. But I think I've done some creation. I've created them, but I need to like actually create the actual. Yeah, I need to basically duplicate this, and then. So here's the descriptor set creation, based on the buffers that I've just made. Uniform and model, and then we want the debug version, and then we want what? A single descriptor set for both? I'm confused. How does that make sense? We have 2 buffers and 1 descriptor set. I think I need 2. Wait, what? You could not believe how common that is for vibe coders, yeah, leaking API keys. Yeah, I'm not surprised, to be honest. So Shadow Claude Dev has said, even I have a Claude Pro. I think Claude Code is really good at pattern recognition. You can use it to debug logical errors, but I would suggest to first to find finding them yourself. If you, yeah. So someone has said, what do you suggest people who are starting Vulkan newly? What should they be familiar with before? Well, I'm not Shadow Claude. It's a great question. I'd say make sure you know your language really well. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but if you're going to be, like when I was making a game engine for the first time, it's on my GitHub called Wind. I remember I just could not, for the life of me, get past this bug, and it took literally like a month, I think, to figure out what to do. I was using code blocks in an older compiler, so the compiler message wasn't as clear. Admittedly, so it was, I was using, and the compiler was MingW, I think, sorry, and it spat out, which is just a wrapper GCC for Windows, and it spat out this error saying like you're not calling the base constructor. Now in C++, it's possible to use inheritance, right? I'm not sure how familiar you are with this, but this is a really simple bug. I'll just say that. To fix if you know what you're doing, but because I kind of dived into stuff too early, effectively, I got stuck on these like type of bugs that took months to fix because I didn't understand the language very well. So whatever language you're picking, even if it's like JavaScript or whatever, I don't really know if it has like Vulkan JavaScript. I don't know. Yeah, make sure you're familiar with your language enough that you're pretty competent to handle a big project, because Vulkan, even simple Vulkan projects can balloon very, very quickly with very complex stuff. So yeah, it's hard to judge though. I would say dive in, and if you get stuck on Vulkan, or your language, sorry, take a couple of months or a month or even a few weeks to like just study your language for a bit longer and then get better and then come back again. And you'll find that if you do that, if you give yourself a bit of study time, that you will benefit a lot. What am I doing here? It's the script is set handle. Right, okay. I'm going to just copy this pattern one-to-one for now and just kind of question it later. But I'm certain this is not right for the skybox. The skybox doesn't actually work, and I wonder if this is it. One descriptor set for 2 buffers. It just seems a bit nuts. I think you've got to update the I made 2 UBOs and I'm tying it to 1 descriptor set? That just seems a bit weird. Yeah, 100%. Try and, yeah. Ratchet's really good at programming, so graphics and stuff, so, you know, he knows his stuff as well. And I would 100% agree with what Ratchet just said in chat. Have you anything good to say about AI? Can you tell me if it can teach me programming properly to do game dev? Yeah, it sounds like I'm being really negative on AI, I guess. Again, it's because I learned a lot of my fundamentals before AI, so it wasn't even a question. I just didn't use it at all, and I got to my level that I'm currently at. That's why I'm saying that anyone can learn how to do what I'm doing without AI, because I did it, and I'm not that smart. I'm really not. But you can use AI to help yourself. There's no doubt that is true too. Yeah, it's a question of usage rather than, you know, is AI bad? Like, a good way to use AI, especially when you're learning, is to let it build questions for you. It's fantastic at building up like quizzes and like testing your knowledge. And then what you should do is pretend you're being interviewed for a job, and then treat that as like a learning exercise. It's not easy to do, but when you're learning, doing the not easy things is like how you actually learn, right? Right, I'm just gonna see what happens when I do that. So that's that's what I use it for. But I don't, like I said, I don't really use AI because, oops, no, that's correct. Let's get rid of this. Nope, I want to get rid of this because I did all the I built all my foundations before it existed. So I've created a lot of stuff I haven't destroyed, but I'm kind of like a lot of programming is just like patience, persistence, and consistency. Like if you can do those things, then you're on your way. Oops, what am I missing? Right, I just want to read this again because I'm kind of like, what is missing? I've just missed something. I've scrolled. I shouldn't have scrolled. Let's control click again. There we go. Yeah, what in relative to what? The buffer? Have I not created? That's true. These are all dynamic uniform buffer objects, not static. Yeah, I'm also just not that keen on using AI, just so I'm not that, I wouldn't know like what you should and shouldn't do with it, really. I just know there's programming is a craft and anyone can get good at it no matter what anyone says about this or that. Okay, so they're dynamic. They are dynamic. Sorry to go on about AI so much. How do you manage memory leaks in C++? That is something you have to keep getting better at. I know it seems simple, but I'm not sure what you're using to code with, but just make sure you have some kind of profiler that catches kind of memory usage. Visual Studio Code has like a little application thing here. And effectively, before I really dive into C++ stuff like this, for example, if this starts skyrocketing up, this little graph here, that tells me that there's a memory leak. Apart from that, I'm again, because I'm using my own allocators, and I'm using like a library to do allocation. So I have lots of custom allocators. Like memory management for me is a bit different from what like standard C++ developers should be doing. And I'm only doing that for speed. It's faster to write your own or use libraries that are specifically for game development type allocation. But yeah, just keep learning your language, keep getting better at it, like figure out the best fundamentals. Like if you just follow someone's like tutorial, like the Cherno, for example, the Cherno has a game engine series online. That's like a brilliant way to like figure out like how to handle game application stuff. When it comes to like, you know, he does it a particular way, I do it very different, but it's not invalid because he does it a different way. What am I doing wrong? Right, I'm just gonna try and dig into this for a bit longer rather than just talking. Hopefully let's chill. So it's definitely the descriptors, but like, what are these variables again? Descriptor set, number 0, offset 0. Yeah, we don't want anything like that. We have the dynamic descriptor set, we have a debug descriptor set. Where does this happen actually? I want to see the call stack. Update descriptor set. Oh, interesting, it's here. What? It's this one. Create descriptor set. Weird. Yeah, this is what I thought should be happening. That's why it's confusing, because this I haven't touched this code. I'm getting an error from a different piece of code, so let me just check I haven't messed up some pipeline stuff earlier on. Let's pause that so we actually see what's going on a bit easier. Yeah, exactly. Claw dev, shadow claw. Exactly what I mean. Yeah, if you just follow exactly what he's done, your memory management skills will increase. But yeah, like I said, just keep learning. All shaders. No, this is not true either. This is only in the vertex shader. I think that's part of the problem. That's wrong. That's wrong. Okay, so the skybox stuff is skybox. Hey man, great work, keep it up. Appreciate that, dude. Hope you're having a good day, man. Watching this makes me thankful I delete all my just buffer descriptors. Yeah. I thought this would be simpler, so I guess I only have myself to blame. Oh well. But I'm just kind of confused at the moment. What is going on? That's the debug render. Do I have the same issue? No, I did put them in the right place. So I'm struggling with something that's quite simple, unfortunately. But Skybox, where's the Skybox code? Skybox pipeline, blah blah blah. We didn't touch the Skybox stuff, did we? I should really rename this. This is a terrible name. I kind of did this like as a quick hack. Pipeline. Skybox pipeline creation. That'll do. Alright, so now everything's at least got the word Skybox at the beginning, so I can check. Oh yes, so anyone who's come in recently, I fixed the issues from yesterday. We're just on now different issues. So, woo woo! I think Kahalia was here for us, but yeah, I've been struggling for things for a couple of days, and I finally cracked it. Turns out the buffer device address structs need to be aligned by the biggest element. Like the alignment matters basically for buffer device address structs. Like it doesn't matter if you're using the scalar operator, scalar thingy, you know. What is it called? I'm saying that wrong. The let me just get correct. Yeah, the scalar block layout. It doesn't matter if you're using this. This needs to be padded correctly to match the alignment in C++ or C or Rust or whatever you're using. That was what the error was. Is that 12 still? Yeah, it needs to be 4. Yep, that's a mistake. Did I leave that as 12? Yep, okay, that needs to be 4. Does that exist in anywhere else? Shouldn't do. Weird, you haven't had to do that ever. Yeah, literally, that's what I caught. That's the thing that fixed it. I thought it was weird as well. I don't know why I have to align things by 32, but it's basically going 32, 16, add these together, then that gets to 48, and then it increments by the wrong amount. I think it increments by, I don't know, but it needs to be now, everything needs to be 32 chunks. That's the only thing that I could get it to work, and everything just cleaned up. Indexing and all. I might be doing something not more advanced than you, I guess. Different, perhaps. That would probably be the correct word. I don't know if you're doing kind of like this level of indirection. And the only reason I've gone back to GLSL is not because that wasn't the issue or whatever. I am tempted to move everything to slang. It's just because the debug renderer was already half written in GLSL, and I needed to kind of go back to like fixing this, and I didn't want to have to abandon all the work I did up to this point. So yeah. What I'm going to do as well is, for that, I'm just going to move this position. You have 2 level of indirections as well. Not sure of them. Yeah, I don't know. I don't exactly know. It just seems like there's extra rules to the buffer device address stuff that just exists that I didn't know about. But truly, that's what made it work. And the reason I found that out is because slang had the same error. Like when I actually got slang working, the slang version of this shader instead of just the GLSL shaders, it had the same bug, and both shader versions had the same bug, and they both had the same solution. Just so you know, it's this struct here at the top. So this is the struct that was holding both position and color. This needs to be padded by 32, so every element needs to be 32 bytes. It looks like, so that's why we have this, because this is 16, and this is obviously 16 if you do 4 times 4. So yeah, that was what I believe to be the issue, and I never knew about that. I don't think it. I wish it was documented, but let's turn this to false. Maybe I just have like a really bulk shader, I don't know, or really my engine is so weird that it just has to be this way. But that was the way I fixed it anyway. I am open to corrections, but that's what it needed. That's what I needed to do. Anyway, yeah, I'm certain this is wrong. Because let me just check in the non-skybox thing or whatever. Yeah, there's a lot of things I want to clean up as well. I won't fix everything immediately. Like, let's just say the there is a better way of doing things that I've done, but I want to at least get it like kind of working first before I start changing things. This is the other thing I might be worrying about. No, hang on. That's not it. I bind this. Let's just see how this works again, because this has always worked. And when I create this, do I add both of these to the thingy? So we have buffer 1, buffer 2, and then the layout. And that is just an argument, that's why it's dark grey. You might just have bad buffer reference definitions. Bad buffer reference definitions. Buffer reference definitions. What's a buffer reference definition? So I feel the irony here. I started with Roblox as my first language, dabbling into game development, and now I'm here talking. Talking from high level stuff to low level stuff. Yeah, it's just you just got to progress. I started making batch scripts on Windows that I would call viruses. They were not viruses. They were just things that opened the command prompt a billion times. It will get flagged by the antivirus though if you do write that, the same code I did as a kid. But it calls it a flood. So, oh, okay, that will help if I did the right thing. This is me talking and not paying attention to what I did. Okay, so now we have them. Okay, that was a mistake, but it's not. Can't I just? Okay, I'll make a new. Okay, I'm gonna make a new one. and just call it like debug version. It's possible that, oops, that this creation state debug delete these two exist. I have created them now. Uniform buffers, there's no data, that's fine. Let's just say they have values. You call it a shader storage buffer object for some reason. Oh, is that what they're actually called? Buffer reference definitions. Yeah, I should name that. I've been calling them like pseudo shader storage buffer objects. Yeah, I mean, you can look at them in a minute once we've seen if these even have anything in. Does this have something in? Are they different? Yes. But I don't think I've made a massive mistake here. But let's step through. Let's debug this first. I'm kind of wondering why this doesn't work. Yeah, what is in this? Handle for. Does this have anything in it? Okay, so it has 0, 15. 0. What? Sure, we'll keep going. Allocate memory. VK sampler if we need it. Okay, I don't see anything out the ordinary. How many resources do we have? We shouldn't have many. Yeah, we have 2. Yeah. I don't understand, like, why would that be the skybox? Why is the skybox now complaining? Did I mess this? Hang on. Where's the skybox? Oh, I'm an idiot. Oh, I'm a massive idiot. I've deleted the skybox create buffer. Whoops. Yeah, that'll do it. I'm trying to make a descriptor set with no buffer. Okay, so there it is. Right. Okay, cool. That's what happens when you talk about AI for too long. You try to create a descriptor set without a buffer. Yep. Alright. So again, this shouldn't be bad. Okay, we've made it this far. Let's just see if everything here is fine again. I just want to make sure that our persistent mappings are good. I wonder if the overhead for this is like how many persistent mappings I have. Alright, I'm just going to step through these slowly. Do we have, is this null? No, it has something in it. You should have something in it. Yep. Okay. Yeah, let's go to here. Oops. Okay, so blah 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 blah. Cool. I'm gonna skip this because that's gonna do a loop. And why do I have this here? Okay, we need to delete that in a minute. So it's just the identity matrix. We copy that over. We push the push constances. Alright, and that should be... Yeah, that should be it. Right, okay, yeah, so there's only one mesh inside that draw call, so there's only one draw call for that. And... Yeah, let's step through the final bit. Oh, hang on, there's a... No, that's... Okay. Okay, we out the for loops. Render I'm GUI. Pop the thingy. Update the profiler, air quotes. Present. Okay, everything presented. So, there we go. And I just need to delete all the debuggers. Yep. F5. Okay, so it's not there anymore, but that's... Where is it? I'm looking for a pink thing, if you can see it, or magenta. Nope, okay. So, just so Ratchet, this is more for someone in chat called Ratchet, who has pointed out that my, what are they called, buffer device address, what are they called, buffer reference definitions. So in slang it had the same issue, and I had to do the same thing. This should be 4, admittedly. So my, all I had was a pointer in slang, then that just got used here as in a push constants, and then I accessed the data. So even in slang where you're not really explicit with the buffer, let me try and get this right, buffer reference definitions for the buffer device address, there is no, I can send you this file if you're interested, but yeah, this generates the same scene as you saw before with the rocks and that one duck. There is, and there's no there's no buffer device address definition really. It's just this, a pointer, and obviously that too. But these seem to align. I think these, because the compressed data. But yeah, could not get it to work any other way apart from adding a serious amount of padding. That made it 32 divisible. Okay. And yeah, just so you can see, these haven't changed. Scale, that didn't seem to do anything when it comes to this. They needed to be padded to match the 32 in the 32 bytes in the C++ side, or the host side, I should say. So yeah, that's what fixed it in the end. So right, let's see why that didn't work. Just gonna scroll around a minute. So the model is identity. I wonder if I am just going to take not the for the debug one. Not the debug sphere, but the rock. So rock index. That is going to give me access to the. No, hang on. Let's use both for a minute. Because all I want here is the rock. First rock mesh draw or whatever. Again, this is hacky as hell, but we're not seeing anything. So I'm kind of curious if it's to do with the model in the shader. So this thing. If this is, I thought this is, if this is an identity matrix, it wouldn't matter. But let's just set it to something. Oops, let's not minimize it. Yeah, then I unmap at the end. Isn't that persistent mapping? I thought it was just leaving it open. You can do it through VMA. I think I'll look at that in a minute. Actually, that might be something to fix. If it is an issue, I might be doing something that VMade already does for me, which for those who don't know, that means Vulkan Memory Allocator. It's a library that helps you deal with the allocation side of Vulkan, which is quite tricky to get right. So model. Okay, so that should exist. This is the duck model. Yeah, whatever. These are eventually going to be tied together, the collider geometry and the duck, so... yeah, let's... so, if people are interested, this thing I'm working on is open source, so you can always check it out if you want. I'm currently on the space branch, so the master branch is a bit out of date at the moment, which is by design, because I'm making a game in a different branch. And you can find that link in the description of this live stream / video if you're watching in the future. So you have found my... so you've seen it master main CPP, which is scruffy as hell. So Ratchet is a really good graphics programmer, in my opinion. So it's good to have these type of people in your chat when they point out something. It's definitely worth looking at. Okay, so create buffer. Actually want to see the file itself, function itself, not where it's used. So VMA create map bits. Yep, I do have that. That means this is accessible, I think. This guy. I remember that this caused me a bunch of issues. What was it? I tried to store this variable in a struct that I was going to access later, and it just completely broke everything. And I can't exactly remember why. This was like probably like a month and a half ago, before these live streams. But I'm kind of curious now, if I remove this and run that, with all the mapping stuff I'm doing, will that... No. Okay. So I do need that for when creating stuff with initial data. But I think you're talking about this. You can actually write to this, right? This P mapping data. I tried to store this void star, and in a struct, and I can't remember exactly what happened. It like nuked all my... I can't remember exactly. Like something went wrong, and I tried to get rid of this. I do remember trying to get rid of these. And just using that, because I need to access, individual struct versions of that P mapped data or whatever. But there was something I couldn't get. It's like I can't remember exactly what happened. There was a reason for what I did. I just, at the time, it didn't work. Maybe I just did it poorly. There is that. Skybox. I don't know why I haven't. You don't have to call VK map memory. Do I call that here? What do I call VK map memory? Have you seen that in my code? Sorry. VMA map memory. Oh, this. This? Is this what you've seen? But I'm creating the staging buffers. And oh, and here as well. Okay. What was I trying to do? There was some meta structure. I think it was this. I think I put it in. Yeah, that was it. I at one point put the pointer to the mapped data structure in here, and then once I accessed the buffer, something went wrong. Now I can't. It caused some weird memory corruption. Like this was too big or something. Like this struct was too big. I can't remember. I mean, I can try again. Don't get me wrong. Also, try not to read from a Vulkan buffer mapped pointer that's not host cached if you like having performance. Host cache, is that a VMA struct thingy? What is it called? Yeah, give me a second. Let me. I've got this stupid debug renderer. Ratchet, I do hear what you're saying, but I will come back to the buffer allocation stuff I'm mapping. I'll put that on like a list or something. I'll refer to what you've said as well in this video. Look at. Actually, I'll just I'll just go on the chat. Just grab all this. Throw this in Notepad. This is just a reference for later. Anyway, let's get back to it. I'll leave that there for now. So if people don't know, that's what the live stream thing looks like on YouTube. You got to see behind the curtains. Ooh. Okay, you'll send me stuff in the resources. Thank you. So yeah, I have a Discord server where stuff can be sent. Anyway, let's. So we can't see anything, and I don't know why. Let's simplify the shader. Let's get rid of these things because they could be removed. And because I think it is to do with the vertices. Okay, so that's the. Why is the view projection not applied? Huh? Okay. Is it not updated? Hang on. Am I not binding this? Bind. View projection is definitely being updated. It's the glider. We have the scale, make scale. Okay. I didn't delete that, did I? Okay. That's strange. Map 4, yes. That's almost like I did this. Okay. Let's bring back the view projection. Excuse me. Why are you not being updated? Why is it always on my screen? Oh, hang on. I might be updating the view projection as my actual camera. No. That is the view projection matrix of the camera, but not. It's not being the camera. Odd. So here we have the same setup, and it seems to just work. Like, I don't really know. It's like it's got the scale matrix and the view projection. Oh, hang on, these might be mixed up. So I've learned very recently that these need to be the same way, in the right order. So let's just check that's in the right order. Otherwise, we could be in a bad way. Collider. I think that's correct. Yeah, okay. The view projections first. I kind of want to shove this in the push constant, to be honest. Because it'd be easier. So, yes, glorious 128 bytes. Let's go. I thought it was 256 for 1.3 and no 1.4, 1.3 and below, and 256 if it's 1.4. Is that wrong? 512, sorry, for 1.4 and above. I thought it was double what you're saying. I could be wrong. I won't look it up immediately, but that's what I thought it was. So what am I trying to do here? I'm looking at this and just making sure that everything is the same, right? And then I do this. No, it's okay. 128. Right. I might be thinking of push descriptors, which has something else going on. I've never used them, so. What? Okay, so that's that. This is used 3 times. Global model. I see. Interesting. So push descriptors are for people who are porting Vulkan to be to OpenGL. Obviously, that's not literally what they are, but that's. I felt like descriptor heaps were the same thing for people who are moving from DirectX to Vulkan. You know, I thought obviously it's not that you can use them if you don't. You know, and all that. But I was like, this feels like it's for a particular audience when I saw that. So I'm not surprised push descriptors are for OpenGL guys. Descriptor buffers were a thing in DirectX 12. I was thinking of DirectX. Sorry, the. Oh. Vulkan descriptor heaps have differences. Oh, they do. Okay, so they have differences. So there it is subtle. It's a bit more subtle than I was letting on. I'm a bit stumped, to be honest. Let me think. So when I run this, what do I see? I just see that in the middle. And that is because it feels like the position. Hang on, do I update the position? Now, where's that updated? Here. What is this size? Right, I'm going to put this to 2. Get rid of this. Obviously, magic numbers are bad, but I think what I was doing is even worse, to be honest. I was kind of had a full for loop, and then I was just excluding. I was kicking out every single. But again, this is all debug code. I'm kind of curious, like, what is the position data? Right. Okay. Great. So new position, convert to matrix 4, and let's see. Let me just check something over here. One moment, gang. Right. Okay. So. Okay. There we go. Okay, so, sorry. I just had to fix something on the laptop, which I have right next to my computer. And that's why I'm reading chat. Because I only have one monitor. 1 minute. It's broken again. Alright, okay. I'm happy. Okay. Back to it. It's the reason I think it's like we don't have view projection. Whoa. Okay, this is not what you want to do. But what is the difference? Okay. Let's turn on depth because I'm utterly confused. Depth was I've turned off depth because I want to be able to write the debug rendering on top of everything. If I draw it last, that's typically what would happen, but I'm not sure what's going on. It's true by default, so it should. Nope. Okay. What am I doing? What do I want to test? So let's go back again. Right, I'm just gonna have to like remove different versions of the multiplication just to see. Okay, so global scale. What is going on? I'm a bit lost, honestly. Right, get rid of global scale. What do you do? So global scale model. So let's remove everything from the scene. I'll have to change the color. We did have a nice blue, but I've deleted it. So we're going to have to go with a different color, a different clear color. Let's go with, okay, so it's black by default. That's fine. Right. Right, just remove everything else. The reason I'm doing this is just to make sure everything can be written to. Mat for. Sorry, I need to see if I'm not overwriting my debug renderer with something else when those multiplications come in. So if I can just see the debug renderer, because I've removed everything else from this scene. Nope. Okay. And that's for global scale. All that should be doing is scaling everything. That shouldn't be doing anything. Model. Why is this not worked at all? This is kind of interesting. I'm very tempted now to kind of go back to what I was doing to restore the buffer device address, because this has just caused a bunch of pain in the neck. Yeah, and let's try and get that to. I didn't really try hard enough, I don't think. Sorry, I'm going back a bit, back on myself. But let's make a bigger buffer device address, buffer thing. And get rid of these. Sorry about this, but it's important to. If I'm trying to make my life easier and it's not making my life easier, then I need to cut my losses. I can't fall for the sunk cost fallacy, especially when it doesn't matter. So yeah, I've got to be aware of that. This and get rid of this. And delete this. So yeah, let's just concentrate on one thing. Yep. Okay. And yes, we don't want a descriptor set layout anymore. We just want to create a pipeline. And the next thing we want to do is update the debug renderer with the view projection matrix and the global scale, which is easy enough to do because it's not that hard. Yeah, if I have a regression in stuff that's like supposed to be easier, then we're just nuking it. I'm not spending all day debugging something I don't care about, which is fine. That just means I don't know why I just didn't do this. And then view projection, and then global model, which I don't have, which I can easily grab. Make scale. That goes there. Delete this. And make a mat for S global scale. No, model scale. Global model, sorry. Cool. So we have view projection, we have that, and that. And I think when we create the... No, that's wrong. We need to also scroll up to here and kind of, do we need to add dummy data to these? What I'm going to do is, hopefully the default constructor is smart enough to know what I want to do when I do this. This is just for every single type of color that isn't assigned. And I believe the default constructor will do this for every single instance. Then I need to go back to the shader and just make sure that I'm using a 4-byte padding thing. And the rest should be straightforward. And okay. I could very much just git stash this. This is no, I have no qualms in nuking everything because there isn't much change now at all. Deleted. Okay, it's just the order changed. I can even put the position at the bottom, which is where it's. I might git stash actually, and kind of start again, and then we can just debug from where we were because I feel like I've learned something. Nope. Okay. Okay, go away. That's the physics engine causing an error. This is not needed now. Get rid of this white space. Yeah, let's get stash. I'm going to get stash. Let's get back to a nice baseline. Get stash. Oops. Right. Yes. And then I'll fix stuff based on what I think I need to do. So that should render that. Yep, everything's back to normal. Right. Right, okay, so the first thing to fix is the padding. And which is now not, shouldn't be 12. Should be 4. I don't know if that's true for everything actually. Yep. Okay. Fix that simple mistake. Which, yeah, it's still divisible by the lowest common factor of 12. So, or is the highest common multiple? Oh. It's been a minute since I've done that. Okay. That shouldn't change anything. Yep, all 3 things are rendering. Next is... Oh, we don't have any music. Why have you just stopped? Sorry, we haven't had music for a while. I've just been kind of locked in. Let's get that restarted. Let's bring up the vibes. Has anyone noticed the YouTube on desktop looks horrendous now? It's just, these are huge and I can't get them to be smaller. It's like the suggested videos are massive. I don't really understand why. Right, cool. It's just a observation more than anything. It's not like a concern. Right, so where were we up to? We were up to this. Right, okay. So everything's working again. So unfortunately we have padding, we have all this stuff, but hang on, let's check the orders correct, because that's really important. I didn't realize how important that was when I did this the first time. for buffer device address stuff. Okay. As you can see, there was nothing different apart from the S. Okay. Okay. Now my question is why... Let's get global... We have global scale, we have view projection, because otherwise they wouldn't be warped by projection. It wouldn't get smaller as you get further away, which is what you saw earlier when it was stuck to the screen. So if I do this, that's the view projection matrix working. Scale... I can scale this by not 0.1 but 1. That should be massive in comparison. An order of magnitude. That should be bigger. Yep, okay. So the scale works. The only thing it doesn't seem to work is this, which I don't quite understand. So this, why is the size of this? I keep forgetting. Just gonna put a... Can I put a breakpoint? No, I can't do that. So if this is entity data. Okay, so this is just the total size of ducks. We have 2 entities. I don't know why. Yeah, okay, so let's remove this. This is just making things confusing. Okay, go. Okay, yep, that's just a breakpoint. Let's get past that. Everything's the same again. Great. Let's just get rid of some confusion. And right, okay, so we have view projection works, we have this works. This, I wonder if it works. That's the next question. So what I want to do is build up a matrix that doesn't use this and just see if the position changes. If the position doesn't change, then I know that it's the... So this is good. This is actually left around from earlier. So plus Z equals delta time. Delta time. Then I just need to make translate. Make translate. I want to make it though. There we go. And this takes in the new position that we just modified. That's going to be updating every single frame at a constant rate. So this should update the velocity of in the Z direction. So we should see that one of the purple spheres move if this works. And if it works, then we have a different problem to deal with. Now it doesn't work. Oh, wait. It's moving. Okay, that's really good news. That's really good news. Because that means if we can tie these two together, this duck and this sphere, then we're good. The problem is right now is I think it's actually using the collision detection, the physics library. The physics library needs to update the collision geometry and the models that we're seeing. So that duck and the collision geometry need to move at the same time. The question is, how do I do that? Because this clearly, because this is threaded, I think there is some kind of locking that's happening that's not allowing it to be run twice per frame. And I think that's what's going on here. I could be wrong, but based on that observation, the data that we're sending to the GPU on the buffer device address is working, sorry. And let's confirm that because I'm kind of curious now. Let's If I take this out the for loop and update position 0 and position 1 differently, so we see them doing different things. So there should be 2 spheres basically, but they're on top of each other because they're in exactly the same place. So if we take the GLM's mat for make transform, no identity, sorry. Do I even need to do this? Yeah, let's just update 1. We'll actually just see the difference based on one being updated and the other one not being updated. So yeah, that's really good. What I can do is I can just put the position data in. Yes. That's very good. We have 2 spheres. The idea is obviously to wrap one around this and one around the duck, so we can actually see how big the geometry is and when it moves and all that kind of stuff. So we are moving in the right direction very fast, which is very great. Alright, let's put this back for now. So now we need to figure out a way to get the position that gets updated in here as well. Now I could just make this global, but obviously we want to alright, yeah, let's make it global for now. Let's just do a quick test because I want to see the progression basically. You know, is it so we want new position in here. So in theory we should already have a new position. We don't need to do this. This is a hack right now. I am aware. So we update it here and later further down we actually use it again. I wonder if we can set it to like identity or something. I'll set it all to 0. I know that's not an identity matrix, but no, I'll just leave it on initialized. It shouldn't matter because we're always... Actually, this matters. We're only doing this for the ith element, which number 1 element. So I'm going to say this is important. So we only update the position. We only update the position if I is equal to 1. So otherwise, everything updates. I is equal to 1. Again, hacky code will be changed later. So this hopefully should be moving at the same speed as the dock that moves in the scene. But we'll see. It might not be in the same place. That's the other thing. That's not always a given. Now that is curious. Okay, let's think. If I go in here and just see what the data is, I wonder if it's is this always an identity matrix? First off, let's see if it gets hit, which I don't think it won't, but okay. Okay, so we have some position change. 5,000. Now, the duck is scaled by such a small amount. It's possible that the position of the sphere is actually in a completely different place off to the side. Which means we need to look for this sphere off in the... Oops. Let's go back. So the sphere, if it exists... Yes. Okay, so the sphere is... Okay, I need to kind of get to that sooner. So what's happening here is the scale's completely wrong. But is it moving? That's the question. Ugh. I only have a certain amount of time to find this thing. Okay, so there it is. It's a bit tricky to control, so this is going to take a second to get right. There's the duck. Okay. I saw something. Yes, okay, so it is moving. Okay, great. So when it hits the collision, this also updates. Let's take a step back. Sorry. It's possible that this always worked, and I just didn't see it. This will be easy to change. You can just press Control Z to get back to where it was. Yep. Okay, so let's just make sure that I'm not conflating two things here. It's important that I make sure this. So the scale, we know the scales are wrong, but yeah, that was always moving. Great. So obviously now we need to investigate. Why does negative 6,000 effectively mean it moves to here where my mouse is for the duck? And why does it realistically negative 6,000 mean that it's so far away that we're outside the draw plane? Which, in my opinion, makes sense, but the duck and the... what is it called? I wonder if it's the model of the duck. So if I get rid of, when I say the model, I mean this particular matrix here. If I get rid of this and this, what gets displayed? I'm kind of curious. Okay, so huge things. Okay, are they in the same position? Look at that. Okay, so basically this duck is fucking massive, and they are. Why is this duck so big? Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I've scaled down the duck so much that when I move it, I moved a pre-scaled duck, if that makes sense. So let's get rid of global scale as well. I'm kind of curious, if I get rid of global scale, what does everything look like? So global scale. So this just scales everything by a set amount, but I wonder how big everything gets, because I'm actually scaling everything down by 2 orders of magnitude. So again, I'll leave all that there for now. I don't think it matters. I just want to see, yeah, everything's huge with a capital H. Okay, but the duck isn't here. I don't know where the duck is. So yeah, this is the original size of the models. This asteroid model that I'm rendering is actually massive, massive, massive with a capital M. Oh, there it is. Okay, let's do that again because I'm kind of curious. Okay, so I'm inside a rock. So we should see a duck somewhere. Just these rocks are in the way. It should be on this side. Yeah, there it is, okay. And it stops there, okay. I don't know why everything's so huge when I don't scale anything. It's like the models are massive with a capital. The thing is, in Blender, this duck is not this big at all. It's nowhere near this big. I think we do need the model matrix back. If I take the... Let's remove the global scale for a minute, once I put the model matrix back. Because that is actually taking the model size from the GLTF file, so that's actually important. So the sponsor model, for example, is huge. Interesting. Okay, does this get any closer? So they're a lot closer. Now I'm going to get rid of this global scale inside the debug renderer and just see how this is being handled if I do that. Oh, I love the song. This is my favorite. This is like literally my favorite song from Ratchet & Clank 2. Where is this sphere? Okay, it's up here. Okay, so without the global scale, we have a massive disparity. Okay, so let's take the model of the duck and set it to the same model as the thingy, the debug renderer. So this has, we can do this before we do anything. So model equals model identity. Do we have the model at this point in the code? From the doc itself. Let me think. I think we do, because there's the actual model, and I think if we look inside here, we have mesh drawers, and we have these. Inside here we have yes, this is what I want. I want that. But I don't know how to get it, because this is applied for each draw call, because not every model is made up of so let's just say you're in Blender and you're making a 3D asset. It's possible that you have one part of the model, I don't know, like a separate part of the model, like a pillar or something, that's, I don't know, 4x, and then the rest of the model is like, you know, it's 4x in its scale or whatever, and then the rest is, yeah, it has materials on that model, and then you have another like material, let's say a tiny little flag that's part of the same model but it's separate. It has different materials that need to be rendered at a different number of things, and also the scale is like 1x, I guess, like just 1. So if I'm setting up the debug renderer to surround models, it's kind of tricky, because it's like the actual model itself doesn't really have a size. It only has a size for its like the GLTF stuff, which is the, for people who don't know, that's an actual model format. So I don't know what the official size of the model is when it's completed in its like generic form, because like I said, they could be separate, they could be conjoined. It's hard to say. Right now we have 2 models that are one complete thing, so there's only one draw call for each model, whereas like with Sponsor, which for people who I'm saying Sponsor, it's like I'll just get it open for you so you can see what I'm talking about. So Sponsor is a very famous, well-behaved model that's really easy to debug with. So I'll just let Windows kind of chew on this for a minute while I talk. So I don't exactly know how this is Sponsor. So I don't exactly know how. So for example, what is the collision geometry of this? Like these tapestries have a different thing going on than the floor and the pillars and this lion face. These are all done in different draw calls. And the problem is these I think have different models. But I could be wrong. It's possible they all have the same scale, position and rotation, which is all I really care about. I'll have to check. What I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that's true and then have to check that, because I can't debug it until I actually check it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this mesh model from the duck and assign it to the mesh model of the second sphere that we're drawing, and just see if that like kind of scales everything properly, because obviously we can't have debug rendering which is different from the actual model itself, otherwise we won't the debug render is completely useless otherwise, to put it that way. So models, let's take the duck model, and then we're going to go, you have the position of, so the model scale of mesh draw 0, because we know it has one model. Right, I'm going to do the same for the rock, and hopefully this kind of unifies them together a bit more. Again, the entity that I'm going to build up from this is going to have more. They're going to be coupled together, so the collision geometry isn't going to be completely separate from the entity itself. They're going to be in the same, I hope, data structure, but I can't know that until I get to a position. Anyway, yeah, until I debug. So I think we have that. Let's just confirm that model isn't just identity or something. So it should have values in that aren't. You gonna let me see inside? Yeah, okay, so that's good. It's not junk. We have a tiny value here that might be very close to 0, because it's E minus. E minus means very small value, but you do have like reasonable looking values here for these two. These are the diagonal matrix. No, am I lying here? 11. Oh, okay, interesting. This could be I don't know what this is actually. This could be a rotation plus a scale. I don't know. I'm not a computer, so let's see what that did. Nope, that didn't size anything. I don't think. Where is the thing? I wonder if it got too small. Oh, hang on. Let me apply the model to the scene. I don't think I have. So the model actually is making things smaller. Oh no, the global scale. Global scale, global scale. Global scale, that's for the debug renderer. Eventually I'm going to remove all this descriptor set stuff. And right, okay, let's have a look. What did that do? Okay, things are very small. It's like I need the opposite. It's like I've scaled the wrong way, if that makes sense. Nope. I think let's get rid of the global scale for the debug geometry. Oh no, let's scale it up. Actually, let's do the opposite. It's hard to say what's going on. So the rock model, it's just so small. I thought it'd be much bigger. It's gone small. I thought it'd be bigger. Hang on. Yeah, because even if I look, I've set the model size of the rock. This should be the size of the rock almost. This little one here in this middle. Oh, I keep moving too fast. It's actually gone. This sphere's got smaller than it once was. And I can get rid of this. We should see that a little bit larger, not hugely larger, but just a little bit. You can see it. That's like unit size. That's like, oops, that's the size of. That's just like a size of like 1 or whatever. And there, and there's that is. But it's like it's like we need to do the model inverse rather than the actual model. That wouldn't work. I don't know. I'm trying to think what to do. I'm honestly trying not to like vibe too hard to the music. It's a little corny, but I do like the this driving music from a driving game. Let me just fix something up. Okay, cool. Yeah, back. And you know what I haven't done? Give me a minute. I'm gonna make a Discord invitation. I usually put this at the beginning of the live stream, but I have forgotten. So for anyone who is watching who might be interested in joining, I do have a little Discord server for our community that we have. For some reason I can't make these beforehand. It just does not allow people in. So if you are interested in talking about graphics and stuff, okay, well, graphics, you can just chill, but yeah, I'll throw that there. Feel free to join. We're pretty chill. Just thought I'd throw that there for the people who are interested. If you can't join for some reason because my Discord server is not letting you, let me know and I'll try and fix it for you. If you try to join and it didn't work. Anyway, let's catch up with what I was doing. Yeah, okay, so the model is so small that it's actually made this tiny. Hang on. I just come up with something. So I'm scaling by 0.1, but maybe for the debug renderer. I want to be scaling by a completely different value, 1. And then it scales down because it's actually really big by the correct amount of correct scale, right? So that's an order of magnitude increase. Okay, no. We're just back to where we were. Oh, that's way closer. Oh, that's good actually. That's really, really good. We're getting close because this is bigger than that duck, right? The duck has scaled it down way smaller. Right, so that's the duck one. No wonder we couldn't see it. Let's mess around with the scale then. Let's go an order of magnitude bigger. I think this is too big, but... where is the... There it is. No, that didn't quite work either. How accurate is this? Oh, I think we need to turn on wireframe to see what's inside there. Let's see. So I need to scale this by a value that actually makes this work. I'm trying to think how. So I want to scale it down to the right size of the model, but I also want to I'm trying to think. We're making progress, but it is slow, but like that's just the nature of things at the moment. So yeah, maybe 1 is good for this particular model because it is very small. I'm going to open up in Blender again. I just want to see what this collision geometry is. Currently, I have the idea of eventually exporting the vertices and the indices. So I don't have to read anything from disk, because that's slow. So this honestly should be just a UV sphere. It's literally, that's all it is. In fact, I wonder if it's just faster to add a UV sphere. Nope, that's wrong. Add. Where is the thing? You'll have to excuse me, I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. That's not right either. I wonder if that's what I want instead of what I've got. I'm kind of curious now. That's it, UV sphere, that's what I did. But now I'm kind of curious, what is the difference? Sorry, I'm really... I don't know anything about Blender. But I'm kind of curious, like, if I go to... No. What is the thing that I want? Modeling? How do I see the vertices? Oh no. Can I just triangulate this? I don't even know what a metaball is. I want to triangulate you. I don't know how many how many vertices this is and why it's. I just wonder if it's like a better a better sphere model, or is this a very specific type of thing that you only want to do in a very particular situation? No, it's no. Not rendering, not compositing. Alright, let's just remove this and do what I was originally going to do, which is the actual mesh that we have. And that's it, model. Okay, so that is what I have for a model in my engine that I'm trying to do. So if I have no idea what I'm doing. What I'm looking for is scale, right? Okay, cool. Now if I import the other model, I wonder if I can import 2 and then compare the scales. Import. Because this might be a bit of a research project outside of the stream, but which will be good. It's fine. Models. So if I get the duck, okay. Yeah, so the scale is 0.01. Why? Why is it not just 1? So if I get rid of the model scale, we get like a completely different value. And that really affects how things are moved around in the game engine. Because I'm multiplying all the position by the model itself. Yeah, so it's kind of like... I want everything to kind of move by the same unit of measurement. And if this and the asteroid, which I think is even bigger, are so huge that in comparison to that sphere, scale-wise... okay, so that has a model scale of 1. What? So it has rotation, sure, whatever. So I'm looking at this down here. But yeah, oh. Dog has this. Scale. What? Everything has scale 1. What did I see before? I don't know. I swear it said 0. What? So that... So obviously the data isn't baked in. Okay, that does squish it. Right, let me just think. What I'm thinking is there is some kind of like... You would assume though, because this duck and the sphere are very similar, they would be roughly moving at the same rates, but they don't at all. And that is the confusing part. Okay, so we're getting repeating music. Let me just fix that. And because effectively I want that sphere to surround the model, and they seem to be mostly the same. Mostly the same size, so it's like in Blender at least. So if I was to translate... Oh, did that move it? No, I don't know what's... Oh. Yeah. Da, 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 da. And then I select the sphere thing. Oh, what? What? Go back to this. What? Why are you so slow? And you are so fast. What? Is there something I'm missing here? I mean, they're in different... So this is in quaternions. If I change this to Euler... Does that make a difference? Euler XYZ, okay. Euler XYZ. Now if I move this from left to right, no. There is something in here that's making it move less than the sphere I've loaded. No, it won't be any of these. It won't be motion. That'll be something to do with animation, right? All I want to know is invert parent transform. What? So, what is happening here? No, that's the same thing. Or it moves at roughly the same rate. Yeah, that moves pretty quick. I mean, I could put this as Quaternion. Does it now go slow? No. No. This is the problem, right? Because I'm updating something in my engine. This duck moves really slow. This does not move really slow. It moves what I would assume normal speed, I guess. I know Quaternion and this Euler stuff is just for rotation, but I just don't know what is the difference between these two. Except it has this parent inverse transform. What is this? I wonder... Maybe I need to talk to people who use game engines. They might have solved this problem. I think this is a bit of a research project I'm going to have to take offline. Just because it's like... If the blender tool... Out of curiosity, how fast does this move? Does this move really fast? No, it moves really slow. It's almost like the sphere is too quick and the rest are fine. No, this duck seems slower than the rock. They're not the same speed, no. Like, everything's like a different speed when it comes to translation. Don't know. Yeah, I'm not someone who knows how to model or do anything 3D, so... yeah. Alright, I'm going to call this here, guys. Thank you for anyone who's watched or subscribed or liked the stream or anything like that. I've made a lot of progress. I hope you've enjoyed me making progress and seeing what I've been getting up to. We've solved the problems for the past couple of streams now, and we're making progress slowly. I'll try to improve this engine off stream and solve some of these problems. But yeah, appreciate anyone who's been watching. You're all awesome. And I'll hopefully see you soon. So yeah, good luck and have a good rest of the day, guys. Whatever you're up to. So, see ya.